Well, I'm back at Market Deeping Club for the latest update in our TT120 Odyssey, and having a good look, you'll be noticing an awful lot of changes since last time we were here. Okay, let's hand over to Bill and his eager team, who are going to talk us through all the changes that you can see on the layout now. Where are we now, Bill?
Hello, Phil. Welcome back to Market Deeping Model Railway Club. As you can see, we've moved on. We've got trains running, even though at the moment they're only on DC. We're going to be fixing the DC system in the next week. There's quite a lot of work in the last few months.
There is a lot of work. There is a lot of changes here, and it's nice to see the trains running, because you're seeing this. You're now seeing the benefit of this sweep of track as the trains actually go round the curves.
And I think for the work that's being done, all the credit goes to the guys here. And I think we should maybe start off by going around each of the team leaders that have been working on this. And I suggest if we start with Mick, who's done the track lane, and Richard, who's done the track lane and the electrics.
Right.
So they'll explain what they've done.
Go on then, guys. What have you been up to?
We've been putting the track around the front, getting a nice sweeping curve. All the electrics have been done on it. We've given it a spray of sleeper grime just to tone it down. We've channeled out the cork in the middle, ready for ballasting, so that we have the dip in between the 6-foot way. The ballasting will start next week.
Okay. Yes, because it does look a bit odd without the ballast. But last time we talked a lot about ballast colours. That's all sorted now?
Yes, we've got we've mixed it all. It's all ready to be put in now.
Right. So presumably you're going to paint. Are you going to paint the hills, the cliffs first, and then ballast up to them?
I don't think we need you, because the cliffs are lifted up.
Oh, right, the cliffs are movable.
So they can be done,
right.
So I can get on with the ballasting.
Yeah.
So
careful with your glue.
Yeah.
And Richard's done the work on the track electrics. And as you saw earlier on there, he's even Scratch built a signal.
Yes, we the signals are quite impressive. So we're gonna treat them a little bit separately, because they are quite innovative there, Richard.
So, yes, one of the challenges that was set was that they are fairly vulnerable. They're quite fine, and the layout, of course, needs to be transported to and from exhibitions. So the suggestion was that the signals should be removable. And a little bit of thought, and I came up with the idea of just plugging the signal into the baseboard. 2.5mm stereo plug, socket actually remains in the baseboard, and the signal is then built up on the top of the plug.
And it's a fully working signal, isn't it?
Fully working. The challenge was getting a head that was suitably scaled. And came up with the idea of using an N-gauge head, and looked round, and online models listed the Burco N-gauge head for use on gantries, and I thought that's going to be perfect, because what we can then do is build the post to the height that we need for the TT scale. The N-gauge head I thought would be slightly overscale in N, and as we can see, it actually seems to work out pretty much where we wanted it for the TT120.
Brilliant. And you're going to put a piece together for us for British Rail Modelling magazine as well, telling everybody how to do this.
I'll try and put together a few words for you, yes, of course.
Looking forward to it. Okay.
Yes, very good. Moving on, the next work that's being done is the sea wall, and if you look at the detail that's being done here, Brian spent a lot of time working on this, and Brian can explain the material he's used and all the painting methods that he's come up with.
Basically, I think, as I said last time, this is a foam construction, and done in something called XPS foam, which is an insulation foam, basically carved with a Stanley knife and scalpel, sort of fairly standard fare, sanded and then fixed in position. The painting was done before it was fixed in, and is basically just on acrylics. So the foam got an Artex coating, and on the top of that went the acrylic paint. Nothing sort of special about that at all. the challenge was to get the bricks to scale, and
also the right colour, because it's an unusual colour.
It's a very unusual colour, and if you look at the colours in photos, they seem to change virtually by the hour of the day, and whether it's raining, whether the sun's shining. So that was quite challenging. Fortunately, with the help of another member of ours called Graham Hobbs, we've managed to sort of blend the two sections together, because they were done separately, and get pretty close to where we want to be.
And the foam presumably has bent quite nicely around the thing, so it was a good choice of material ultimately.
Yes, if you cut it into thin sections, the wall itself is about 5 millimetres thick, then yes, it bends quite nicely. It bends up to the point where you've artexed it, and the artex is set, and then it's fixed pretty much.
Brilliant. Okay.
The other element that's been worked on is the cliffs and the scenery. Now, they're quite bulky, and I think they're probably best if we get Alan and John to explain, and especially if Alan can explain this element here. So
yeah, because the cliffs are a very, very major part of this layout, aren't they?
Yes,
they
are.
The whole point is that they dominate the scene, and that's how it should be. Modelers tend to make these things far too small, and you've actually had the guts to make them the right size.
Yes. Well, they're possibly even a bit too small even now. And certainly we don't have the length that we should have. So what we've tried to do, and I've relied very heavily on John here because he used to work in the area, what we've tried to do is to incorporate the different features of the cliffs, not necessarily in exactly the same place, but roughly relative to one another. And so you've got slides, you've got bits where the waterfall has been, we've got bits where the road goes up, and we've also got the very complex geological formation there, the Parson and the Clark at the end.
Yes, because this is really striking. This hides the curve beautifully.
Yes.
Because obviously you've got a fairly tight sort of train set curve going on under there, and you can't tell it's there.
No, it's very good for attracting the eye to that particular area. But it is a very complex coast, and as I say, we've tried to incorporate different features and get the angles roughly right, but it's not easy.
Now there's work to do here, obviously, because they shouldn't be white cliffs. They're going to be a chunk of painting going on there.
No, there's quite a lot of patching to do with sculptor mould too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still setting.
So it's polystyrene with sculptor mould on top?
Yes.
Okay, right, so...
Sculptor mould enables you to rebuild bits that you took out when it was too extreme, which is a great help.
Great stuff. So next time we should be looking at quite a very different colour of cliff.
Very definitely, yes.
Brilliant. Okay.
yeah, and so moving on from the cliffs, the other element that you can see that's really taken place is the sea. Now, as we explained before, there's going to be two different methods of the sea, and I'd hand over to Dash, and he'll explain exactly how he's done this and what the intentions are.
Yeah, so this is the rough sea. We've chosen a point in time in history that we're aiming this layout at. So we're aiming at the Great Storm of '87, and in the morning pressure was building up. It was quite nice, smooth sea. By the afternoon it was getting pretty rough, and by the evening obviously the 80-90 mile an hour winds and pressure drop and everything that became famous about that storm is hitting. What we've done to actually build this up is using car repair filler. So it's fiberglass based with resin, and it enables you to do white caps and peaks quite nicely on that sort of thing. So you can see where
It's quite tall, isn't it?
it is. It is.
Yeah, and absolutely rock
Absolutely
solid.
Yeah. And then we finish the caps off with the Deluxe Models liquid waves, so that we get a little bit of transparency to it as well. So
yes, you
brings it in.
You can really see it places like here,
That's
can't
right.
you?
There's a little seawall in reality underneath that.
Yeah.
So low tide, people will be building sandcastles around there. Here, they've been washed away and drowned, basically.
Just a bit.
And we're using Santa Claus's old beard. It's a bit of upcycling. We're using that as spume. So on this one, for example, the start of the splashing, this started. And obviously at low tide, we've been donated by John the real sand from the beach. So we'll be bringing that into play. And we've also got the Teignmouth sign now in place. So the famous Teignmouth sign is there on Spray Point. So that's what everyone sees as they're travelling on the train, heading south.
So we've got the now. There's going to be 2 C's, isn't there?
That's right. So this, in theory, I thought was going to be the difficult one. It actually worked out as being the equivalent of a 4-year-old with a bit of plasticine with it. It was great fun to do. The challenging one is the smooth beach with proper smooth seas with ripples and something a bit more constrained. And that will be using the Deluxe Materials liquid water as part of that.
Great. So we're taking a few materials here. I have to say, I've never seen fiberglass used like that,
Yes.
but it certainly works. And
My old Triumph Spitfire looked like this on the underside, basically.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
We'll learn.
I think I think our Talbot Horizon had a similar sort of had a similar sort of effect. But of course, the other beauty of it is it's bomb-proof. Because this is I think it's important to say this is an exhibition now. This is going to Doncaster. It's going to your own show. It'll go to other shows.
Yes.
It needs to be robust.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you can't have a situation where somebody can't touch this, lean on it, or whatever.
No.
But this will stand up to all sorts of abuse.
That's right. Yep. Third-party fire and theft.
Great. So, how are we doing then, Bill? Because we've got trains running.
Yep.
We're now looking at the DCC systems.
Yeah.
The scenery is progressing really well.
It's 4 weeks today. We will be in Doncaster.
No pressure.
Well, there is pressure, but as you said, the team. You can see the team that we've got there. Very
Yeah.
enthusiastic, and we will be there. Hopefully, we will be able to get the DCC system that we've been looking for. If not, we've got backup plans. We've also have all the scenery painted. We're in the process of making transportation boxes. We've got the transportation sorted out. We've got the drapes in order to do the front. So yes.
all the bits that people forget you have to have for an exhibition layout.
This is it. This is one of the problems. It's not just a matter of sort of starting on it and putting it down. When it goes to exhibitions, you've got to make sure that it's being capable of withstanding the movement of getting there. And yes, we've still got the locos that still need to have sound chips, but
We're working on that. Working on locos. We're working on
that,
working on locos. We're going to work on that, and hopefully by the time we get to your show, we may even have some appropriate stock rather than the East Coast mainline stock that is currently available. Although to be fair, it runs and it looks good, but
it does run, and as I said, we're very pleased with the way that we managed to get it going.
Yeah.
And as we said, it's going to be the only TT 120 at Doncaster.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be great. So
it shows the sort of what can be done.
Right. So basically, we're looking good at the moment. I need to come back and record another update in a few weeks' time when we've got some colour in the scenery.
Well, yeah, a couple of days before we go, or the week before we go,
we'll be back here.
We'll be there, and we'll be celebrating.
Okay, right. Well, thanks so much, guys.
We'll see you all at
see everybody at Doncaster.
Yeah.
Right, watch this space.
Okay, thanks.